Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our weekly meeting. There's a couple agenda items already, so I don't know, it's past the hour, so we can jump right in. So, Go, do you want to get started?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm not sure if everyone wants to watch the recording of the 12.3 planning that Matthew did, so thank you for that. I was on vacation, so I wasn't able to do that, but I watched it. And thank you for running that. With that said, so in the original plan in 12.4, when I received it, there were like more than 50 issues, like 56 or 57 issues. I trimmed it down to around 19, okay? And I wanted to ask the team if they think that I missed something, or maybe I moved something that we think is supposed to move, simply because of the case that, I need to move things around, and, I made it as best as I can to my judgment, but I had to do it quickly, and I had to read through the discussion. It was sometimes extremely hard. So if you think that there are some things that should remain in 12.4, please let me know, so we can make the adjustment.
Right. One thing that came up was there's a couple feature flag. Jose, I don't know if you have. I think you brought that up the other day.
Sorry, I got cut off a bit. Can you repeat that?
There's a couple issues about feature flags that we had moved out of 12.4. I think one of them is back in now, but I don't know if you want to talk a little more about that.
Oh, sure. Thank you. So yeah, we had a couple of feature flags that we want to remove: the use from each step one and the additional panel type support one. Those two are close to merging. I just need to test that everything is working as intended, because we used to break configure team feature, but if that works and everything, we should be good to go.
Yeah, so if there is not a lot of work to be done on those, I think it makes sense to move them in. Just let me know which one, and I'll make some necessary adjustment. I don't know how you feel, Matt, about the amount of features that we have, so the amount of issues that we have. I still think we have too much, and I think some will slip, which is fine, but I want to be as accurate as possible. So do you think we should keep it the way it is for now, and the things that are at the bottom, if they slip, they slip? Or should we think about moving out some to 12.5?
Yeah, I could go either way. Personally, I think if there's a few that we can move out, that might be better to have a more accurate list. And then we can always, the question then is, like, if we finish all the work, then we can just pull in more stuff from 12.5. But I think this list, so I want to first thank you, because that must have been a ton of work to get through all 50 of those and pare it down. I don't envy that task. But I was very excited to see the trimmed down list, and I think we've had to move a couple from 12.3 forward. So I think the list is slowly growing again.
Yeah.
So I think we still are going to have too many in 12.4.
Yeah. And for the next iteration, we can talk about it in retro, but I think it makes sense for me to understand how far we went with the amount of work that we put in an MR. So I'll know to move it to the next iteration. It's okay. We don't have a lot of work to get it done, and then it makes sense to keep it. So what I'm saying is, let me know. Either put it on the issue on the MR, so we don't have, we're running out of time. It may slip, but we have like X amount of days or hours to complete it. And I know when we're doing this planning to move it, or just ping us on Slack, so we'll make sure not to push it, further down the food chain.
Sure. Yeah, I can help with that for sure. I started going through a lot of the issues that are still in 12.3, for example, or they have that case where there's either an MR open or they've been merged already and we're just verifying them. So I moved a couple of them. I tried to update the workflow labels on others. So I'll take another pass through that list, and I'll try to comment about how much I think is left on each one, and then I can tag everyone to give me, or I'll tag whoever's working on it to check my assumptions too, to make sure I was on the right path. But yeah, because as of now, we can't get anything else into 12.3, so everything in that 12.3 column is going to need to move somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Although I shouldn't say that. Some of those issues that I know are in 12.3 have already been merged, and we just have to verify them. So as soon as that's done, so I think those ones could stay in 12.3, and as soon as they're done, we'll just close them, and then that'll be it. So I'll flag those as well for which ones can stay, and maybe move some, and I'll let you know which ones need to get moved. So I started doing that yesterday, and I'll keep working on that today.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, I'd rather have, like you were saying, I don't want to overload each release to have more issues than we can get done, because then we're always having this problem where we're always keep pushing things forward and we never catch up. So
yeah. I mean, there will be some things that I think we'll need to push even, not automatically to the next episode. We didn't make it. This is why it's important to understand the amount of effort that we put into those.
Right. Okay.
Anything else from the rest of the team about 12.3 MR or 12.4 plan?
No? Okay.
No. Okay. So the next line item is about the telemetry that we collect. So as you probably know, we are trying to collect all of the user activities to start with on GitLab.com.
By the way, I don't know what SMAU means. What does SMAU mean?
Yesterday they told me something about user activity of users. Basically, we are trying to monitor active users, something like that.
Because if you go look for SMAU in the handbook, the links are broken.
I'll find it. But it's basically sentiment monthly active user, I think. That's SMAU. So. Something of monthly active user. Okay, all right, I got you now. Some or sentiment. I don't remember. Probably some monthly active user, basically.
Something about.
I think it's stage monthly active user.
Something monthly active user. That's it.
Okay, stage. Okay, good Ruben. Thanks.
Yeah, stage. So we are building a list of all the telemetry data that we want to measure and collect, so we'll know. So if we're releasing a new feature, we want to see if users are actually using it, activating it, you know, configure it, anything you want, anything you think of. So two things. Basically, I have to ask. So first of all, and one thing is on me, but it's important also for you to know that probably in every feature that we'll release, I'll probably ask to make sure we will we'll have telemetry on that, so we'll be able to measure it because we have to. So keep that in mind. Okay, what does it mean for you? I mean, we'll make sure that you get the right requirement, but as I mentioned, think about it. The second thing is there is a list here, and I'll share another issue about more things that we are tracking about basically about all the things that we want to track. So if you think about something that we missed, something that would be interesting for us to measure, please add it to the issue. So we'll track it. Eventually, we'll have a dashboard in Periscope. And I think everyone can have access to Periscope if they want. And if not, I have no problem in one of our meetings to show you the data that we are collecting once it will be in place. And we'll be able to track and see the trends of our users. So the ask from you is two asks. One, bear in mind that we will probably need to add this to the work that you're doing. And second, if you think about things that we are not monitoring or collecting, let us know. Okay? And I'll share the second MR in a bit. Okay?
I want to know, I want to know who's using Auto DevOps.
Who's using Auto DevOps?
I don't know. That's maybe a nebulous. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're saying you do too, Ruben?
No, I was saying that I also use it. Ignore me.
I mean, we can add it if you think it's something that can help us with our monitoring strategy. Definitely.
I think Auto DevOps is a lot of, I don't know. It just seems that we count on that being a, you know, it's a big selling point of GitLab, and you know, a lot of these features I evaluate them in terms of how impressed are my buddies going to be when I show them this. And right now, I'm not at the point where I'm like, here, let me show you how Auto DevOps works. Because I know I would, potentially not get it right, and it would take me a couple hours to get it done. And it really ought to be, I should be able to do whatever this idea to deploy is. I mean, I know that some of the sales, or maybe not salespeople, but support people can do this idea to deploy, idea to production demo at meetups and stuff. And I would, I just think that Auto DevOps in a production environment is, it doesn't seem like it's all that easy to do. And it claims itself to be really easy, and that's being the foundation of, okay, now that you've got Auto DevOps, we configure Prometheus and Sentry and Jaeger and Elasticsearch later and those things. So that foundation needs to be something that is easy to do. But I'd like to know how many people are using Auto DevOps.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Maybe we can also see if we have some affinity about people that are using Auto DevOps and install Prometheus and configure Jaeger. See if it sticks. Yeah, You can add it to the issue if you want. Or I can do it.
I'll read through the whole issue, and if I have any more additions, I'll tack them on there.
Okay. Sounds good. And I'll add another issue. I was just can't find. I'm still having trouble searching in throughout the product, but when I found another issue. Oh yeah, I found it. Hold on. Yeah, it's just the one. I'll add it to the doc. You can read the second one. Okay. And so basically 12.4, so we talked about it when we talked about 12.3, about features that we need to include. So we discussed about that. Yeah, honestly, I didn't know. Okay. Anything else you want to ask about 12.4 maybe? Things that are not clear. I know that I created all the issues and we didn't add anything. And there is one for Elasticsearch, which I think is important one. And I mean, we can go over the board and just make sure that the high-level items or the top items are clear enough. But there are two that I would like to make sure we all understand. So there is one, the authentication of Jaeger. So, I mean, the idea here, as you can read through the issue, and it's the issue that Josh wrote, and I had a sync with him a week ago about that. And basically, we would like to iframe Jaeger UI into the product. Right now, when you configure Jaeger, you simply put a URL, and when you launch it, it will just open the window of the URL. So you can put any URL, it doesn't have to be Jaeger. You put CNN.com, and it will launch CNN.com, so it won't be Jaeger. So obviously, that's not enough. And the idea would be to embed iframe Jaeger UI into our product. And to do that, we need to make sure that we address all the security concerns. And Jaeger developer which work in Uber, we have contact, and Josh was in contact with him. He is more than happy to set up a call with us so he can walk us through some of those concerns. But before that, it's important that we will know what exactly we need from him. I don't want to walk into the meeting without anyone doing any work. So if we start do this investigation and see that we hit some sort of a wall, or we have some questions that we don't really know, we can set up a discussion with Yuri to better understand what needs in order to proceed with that. Okay? And I'm not sure who's going to be assigned to that issue, Matt, but whoever is going to needs to be aware of that.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure quite yet, but we'll figure that out shortly.
Okay.
You've got this thing set to back in, so I don't know where. I need to see where Jaeger is even used in the application. Or do we have? I guess we've got Jaeger monitoring in the GitLab application already.
Yeah, I can share. I can show you what is basically. If you go to so you have tracing here, so it's operation tracing. It's also available, I think, in the integration, in setting integration. But basically, you just add the URL. And that's the integration part. You expand it. You put the URL of Jaeger. I actually have a Jaeger running locally here. So basically, just putting this URL here. So it changes, and that's it. And now you see this icon and just open a new tab
Okay.
with the Jaeger UI. It's not it's not rocket science. Yeah, so this is what we have today, and clearly it's not enough. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, other than that, I think one of the big things is to make sure we have Elasticsearch as a part of our logging offering, at least for now. Now, I know we had some debate about which tool to use. There was some discussion about Grafana Loki. And I have to say that Grafana Loki is, if you're familiar with Grafana Loki, it's pretty new. However, it is not. So the main difference between Grafana Loki and Elasticsearch is the fact that Grafana Loki does not structure the log. We ingest it into its database. So obviously it saves a lot of storage. And with Elasticsearch, when you ingest logs, it will probably cost you like between 15 to 25% of additional storage, which sometimes can be a problem, especially if you ingest petabytes of data. And however, you get in return, you get speed. So it's speed versus storage. Depends.
Yeah, as I understood, I did a little bit of research on it. So it seemed like Loki wasn't even indexing anything, right? It just kind of stored it, and the indexing happened all at search time, like with some regexes or something.
Yes. It's all like it's all plain text. It's not the text. It just captures, I think, timestamp and text. That's it. And I think it's good enough for many use cases, actually. Although there are benefits for structured logs, but for now, Grafana Loki is not production ready yet. Even the creator of Grafana Loki, his name is Tom Wilkins or something. I'm not good with names. Anyway, even he mentioned in the last KubeCon that it's not production ready yet. And when he did the demo in front of maybe 2,000 people, the demo crashed in the middle. And he said, "Okay, you see, it's not production ready." Everybody laughed. I didn't understand why. If it was me, I would probably bury myself. But anyways, and it will take a while until we'll be able to take Grafana Loki, to consider to take Grafana Loki. I have no problem taking it if it's good enough, because I think that in most cases probably it will be good enough if you want to just search through the logs. But then again, I think Elasticsearch is the right tool for us at this point of time. It's enterprise ready, it's production ready, and we have support with Elastic. So if we want to get in touch with anyone, we can talk with them. Of course, if you want to leverage me as a resource as well, I can help, to my abilities. And yeah, that's basically. Okay. Yeah, I think was the last item for me. Anything else you want to add, Matt?
No.
By the way, are we doing retro on 12.3?
Yep. So we have it's linked in the agenda here. There's a issue that we opened that we kind of leave open for the duration. And then typically we don't do, well, I'm not sure. Maybe people who have been here longer can help me. I don't think we actually do like a retrospective meeting to kind of recap all of this, but.
We used to.
Okay. And then we stopped for some reason?
The thing is that we scaled way too big, because what happened is that every single department will say, things on the retrospective meeting, and it could be anyone from that department. It could be a backend engineer, front-end engineer, whatever thing that you had in mind that should be discussed in a retrospective company-wide, you could do that. The problem is that that doesn't scale well with 700 people, especially when 1 hour time frame. So we had to change it to something more manageable.
Okay. So I think the process now then is we have this issue that we open. Every team does. We fill it out, at least Monitor fills it out during the milestone. So we probably need a new one shortly here. But then this gets rolled up into like the engineering-wide retrospective, which is like a document. So usually one of the engineering managers will kind of consolidate this into a few of the main points for that main like department-wide, engineering-wide retrospective. And then there's a call that does happen for at that level that kind of goes over the highlights and then talks a little bit about kind of next steps, focuses on here's like the action items we want to take to address some of these. So that's kind of the process that we have right now for the engineering organization. I can put the
Yeah. So if there is an issue, an open issue about retro, and there will be like another one for 12.4.
Yep.
I think it's worth, like in this meeting, in our meeting, like go over the issues offline async, and if there are anything that pops up, maybe we should discuss this both over the issue and also, we can do it here.
Yeah, I like that. I'll change that. Okay. Yeah, good. Ruben, did you want to talk a little bit about the self-monitoring instance administration project?
Yeah, the original discussion on the issue, if you check it out, there was discussion about creating the self-monitoring project on a button click in the admin area. But eventually we decided to create the project without any user interaction. But the problem with that is we don't have a good system in place currently to create data on a GitLab instance, automatically. We should probably have that, but I don't think we want to delay the self-monitoring project until we do have that. So I was wondering if we could discuss ways to create the self-monitoring project, trigger it in some way other than a migration.
So can you, just a question, so I didn't have time to go through the discussion on this one. So where are we going to host this project? Where is it going to be? To be a part of our projects?
Yeah, it'll be a normal project created on every GitLab instance.
Automatically? Okay.
Yeah. But the problem with creating it automatically is that we only currently do things automatically with a migration. But creating something like this in a migration caused a lot of problems. You can see I've linked some in the comment that I've linked. I've listed out some of the problems that it caused. So it would probably be a better idea to not do it in a migration. One way would be, as we discussed before, putting a button in the admin area, and when an admin clicks on the button, it creates the self-monitoring project.
Are there any properties of the self-monitoring project that we need to set from how much? I mean, I know you can just push. Okay, I'm going to push something to GitLab and create a project for you. You can do a git push and it'll create a project for you.
I didn't understand you. A git push will create a project?
Yes. Little known fact. Yeah,
Okay.
if you just get pushed to your GitLab instance, it'll create a project. But it's going to be really bare bones, right? It's not going to have, but I don't know if there's a mechanism we can do to, provide a tar file or something that's like, okay, here's your self-monitoring project, from the Git command line, push it or something, or or an import. Ooh, we could import it from GitLab.com. Ooh. We could.
No, so we discussed importing a sort of template from GitLab.com. The problem is many self-managed instances are disconnected from the internet.
Okay, fair enough. But yes, you can. You can't just push to GitLab or to your. When you install, you can just push right to it, and it'll create the project.
How do you create a project? Sorry, go ahead.
That would still be a manual step, though. We're talking, right?
Yeah, I mean, but every automatic step starts with a manual step.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to make it manually as a button, like to have like a button like enable self-monitoring or something like that. And when the admin click it, knows that now Prometheus is going to collect the information about the GitLab instance. I briefly went over this now. Personally, I think that the design, at least the place where to put the GitLab self-monitoring, like under operation myself, I don't think it's the right place for it to be. And I think it should be like somewhere like we have setting, because it's something that for now it's under monitoring. I see that Emilia, when she created it, there is, I can share with you there.
So your question about how do you do that, Ruben? It's absolutely as simple as configuring, or just saying, configuring a remote, configuring a remote with a URL of where you want to push to, and it just, as administrator, you can just push, and it'll create that project. And maybe that's not a feature.
Good to know. I didn't know this.
But I do it all the time. I mean, I literally did it 4 or 5 times last week. Just, I'll spin up a new GDK, and then first thing I do is push my auto DevOps project to that thing. I don't have to go import anything. I don't have to create a project or anything. Just push that thing to it, and bam, done. Works with GitLab, .GitLab CI, YML, and everything. I might have accidentally discovered that, but I was glad that I did.
I think it makes sense. I mean, Ruben?
Yeah, the Ruben, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think all of the back end, everything is there, the service and stuff to create the project. We just need a way to trigger it, right?
Exactly. And of course, we need to fix the, this is recorded, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's one security issue that we need to fix.
Okay.
That, and we need to figure out how to trigger it.
Okay.
So
right.
Trigger it manually. I mean, this is how most self-monitoring projects in other product work. I mean, there is a section and area, usually near the settings. When you click, you enable, and that's it. you start, actively doing it manually, and then everything happen automatically. So you can say it's semi-automatically or something like that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that at least will give us a way to have this project out there. If in the future we want to make it more automatic, we can investigate that. But
Yeah.
At least for now, this will get us closer.
So the front end,
Yeah.
by the way, the front end work is ready. I mean, the link that I shared is the front end work.
There was no front end work since we were creating the project and the migration. But if we want to do it with a button click, then there'll be a slight front end work to add the button.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to Emilia about it. I don't want it to be in the monitoring. I know it's self-monitoring, but it does not belong to monitoring. It's different. It's different use case. It's different persona. So it should not be here. I'll add it to the issue. Or if you open a new issue, Ruben, let me know and I'll write it on the new issue.
Oh, so should we close the existing one and open a new issue?
Whatever makes sense. I mean, I'm fine either.
Okay.
Just make sure to link it to the closed issue when you open the new one.
Okay.
And tag me, so I'll
Yeah, the
sure.
original issue is full. There's lots of comments about a lot of different parts of this, so it might make sense to open a new issue just to focus everybody on what's left and what needs to get done. Especially if there's a small front end piece, then we can mention that in there, and it'll be very clear of what needs to happen. And then we can also talk about design in there with Emilia. So maybe that'd be my vote, I think.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Cool. I'll close that existing issue and create a new one then.
Great, thanks.
Is one more from you, Matt? Or is that perspective?
Yeah, if anyone else has anything, I just wanted to remind people, this is the link to the current retrospective issue. So if you have things that went well, didn't go well, things we want to improve, then we should please remember to kind of add them in here so we can do a better job of tracking them. And then we can talk about it more. But I think in this meeting, just kind of at the end of each meeting, I just want to remind people to be thinking about this so we can constantly try to improve. So that was just more of a announcement, not really a discussion item. Does anybody else have anything? If not, we can end a few minutes early. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.